Do you think the first semester would have been easier in person? No.
Uh-oh, the game in trouble. Started out small, now they paying me double. Yeah, you can drip check, baby, like mustard. Yeah.
Hey y'all, it's Jordan or JorWish, and welcome to or back to my channel. And let's just get it popping. Y'all, I finished my first semester of law school. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Whew. I don't even know where to start, so I'm just gonna go right into the little asky thing. You already know the drill. I put on Instagram, y'all ask me all your questions. And yeah, let's just hear how my first semester of law school was. So the first question, how much did you cry? If you've watched previous videos, you know I'm very open about how much I've cried in law school, but surprisingly, I didn't really break down that much during finals like I expected to. Yeah, I think the last like heavy crying I did law school related was like maybe like a week before finals, when a fire alarm went off in my building for like the 8th time that month. It was something crazy like that, and I was just really stressed about where I was going to take the exam and things like that. So that's why in my vlog I literally didn't mention it, because I didn't want to speak it into existence of going off. But I'm so thankful that the alarm didn't go off and I was fine. But yeah, overall I cried a lot in law school. Is law school the way you expected it to be? And are the exams doable? So it is kind of what I expected and kind of not. Like, you know, I expected the reading. I didn't have too many expectations going into it. You all keep asking me to do an expectations versus reality. I might just do one where like you all send me your expectations and your assumptions, and I can like respond to that, because I didn't really come in with too many expectations for them. So I guess like I thought I would have way less time than I do. I still have like no time, but I actually kind of thought it would be a bit worse. But yeah, I don't know if I'm making sense. Are the exams doable? Honestly, barely. The exams are barely doable. Like, I was never one to like have to work until the last second to write an exam, but I am literally that person now. What are you doing over winter break? So if you haven't already, just go watch the cabin trip vlog. That I'm doing that, and then some other like fun things, I guess. But mainly just trying to relax. For some reason, we have like the shortest winter break ever. We literally go back to school January 4th. I don't think I've ever gone back to school that early. So just pray for me, y'all. Any tips for how to prepare for 1L? I get this question a lot. I don't think there's too much you can do to prepare for this. I would say to, you know, prepare like your mental state. Like, make sure you have a self-care routine. Make sure you know like when you have a bad day, like what's gonna be your pick-me-up. Make sure you have like a good night routine. Not necessarily when you have to follow every day, but you have something where like if you can't fall asleep, you have a way to like fix that, or something that you can do every morning to help start your day right. It really comes down to like the wellness and like taking care of yourself for the long run. So I think that's something you can prepare. You know, prepare your life, like everything outside of school. Try to get all of that settled as much as you can, because law school already is going to be a lot, and you don't want I've been talking. I actually just recorded a video, y'all, so if I sound like I'm losing my voice, I recorded another video before this. So yeah, I would just say to try and get as much of your life in order as you can. And yeah, just practice being disciplined, I guess. But as far as like everything else, I don't think anything, I don't know. How many grading opportunities? So if you don't know this already, I go to Howard for law school, Howard University School of Law. So this is like pretty specific to them. I think most schools are different, but most of it is basically all your final. We did have midterms, but they weren't really graded, or like they ended up not being graded, and that wasn't a like significant percentage of our grade. So I'm pretty sure it's all in the final for the classes. How much reading? I actually kind of expected to get more reading. Knock on wood. I don't want any more, but the reading, I wish I like had something written down, because I really don't remember too much. And I also read for the week when I would read, so that's probably why it was a lot. But I would say, this is just off the top of my head, anywhere from like 10. Okay, for the week it was probably like anywhere from like 15 to 20 to like 100 pages per class. But like 100 is like a lot. Like but I would say on average like 30 to 60 pages for the week though. So you can break that up however you want to. I just broke it up by the week because I just could not be doing that. Do you think the first semester would have been easier in person? no. I don't know how people did this in person. I don't know how. I think it is way easier now because in person, Howard was having closed book exams. I don't think, Jesus knew I could not do this closed book. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they did it, but I'm glad I'm not one of them. So no, definitely easier online because we had all open book exams. Also, I just feel like I learned way better here. Like, I think once you're at your home office, online school is actually like where it's at, y'all. Like, I felt like it was only me in the classroom. Like, it was, the teacher was like my one-on-one tutor. It was great, and I was comfortable asking questions. It was great and convenient to get food. My kitchen is like right there. I was going to class in my pajamas and comfortable clothes. I wasn't worried about, you know, making the bus on time. If it rained outside, I didn't care because I was here anyways, you know, like all those little things. Carrying heavy books around, I didn't have to deal with that. So no, it was definitely easier online, I think. And like just being able, if you have a quick thing to turn your camera off, I don't know, it's just, and like not having, I don't know, I prefer online. That's just me though. Did Quimby help with briefing cases? Yes. What was your study schedule? I was gonna do a whole video on this, but then I realized it's not really that deep. If you ever see this on my wall, this is literally my study schedule. So let's just get it right now. So this is my study schedule. I don't want to get too close because I have like my professors' names on here, but maybe from here you can't really see too much. So this is Sunday to Saturday. So Sunday I would read from 10. Honestly, these times were pretty generous, but from Sunday, it was my day to read for torts and leg reg. And then on Mondays afternoons, I would read for contracts. And then on Tuesday afternoons, I would read for legal writing. And then I wouldn't read for the rest of the week until Saturday, which is when I would read for Civ Pro all day. And when I say all day, I mean all day. Like if you ever saw my other vlogs where I'm getting my hair done at like 5 o'clock in the morning, that's because for the rest of the day I had to read and outline civil procedure. That class takes forever to read for. Let me make sure I'm not missing a class. Civ Pro, torts and leg reg, and contracts, legal writing. Okay, yeah. Oh, and then Thursdays I had like here read for legal research, but honestly, I ended up reading that like right before the class. But that's just my reading schedule. That's not necessarily my study schedule, I guess. But and it doesn't, I would say, you know, this is not like not everyone has to do this. Like everyone is different. I actually had, this is like my second study schedule. The first one I had lasted 1 week, and then I realized I need a whole day for Civ Pro. I can't just do Civ Pro and something else. It's like literally Civ Pro Saturdays up in here. And then in between that, I would do mastery Wednesdays and Thursdays. And mastery is literally, I guess, like proper studying where, you know, I would just like do hypos, hypotheticals, do fake questions. And I would do that for like 2 hours, not very long. And like, but yeah. And then I would also do, I mean, I did, like I said, I might do a whole video on this. I don't know yet, but that was my reading schedule for the semester, if that matters to anyone. Okay, did you have time to have a social life? I don't think I really had that much of a social life, but people probably see me on Instagram and think that I do. But compared, I think it's just like my new followers, but compared to me in undergrad, this is literally nothing. Like, y'all, I really used to be partying like every day, at least one party a day. Now, well, of course we're in a freaking, you know, panoramic, but I think it's, I mean, I try to balance it, and that's another question later, but it's really like what you want it to be. My self-care, part of my self-care, I know myself, is like being social and going out with friends or hanging out with friends, going to dinner or something. Like that's my self-care. Like I don't think I would be able to be my best self if I didn't do that, but everyone can't do that. So you just have to, you know yourself and assess. What keeps you motivated? I get this question a lot. I think like, I don't know, I want to make my parents proud. I'm a woman of my word. Like when I set out to do something, I want to do it. Like I want to be a lawyer, so that's my motivation. And you know, I like to get what I want, so yeah. I don't know, what keeps me motivated is like I still want to be a lawyer. So I feel like if I ever felt like I didn't want to do that anymore, I wouldn't be motivated to do this stuff. And I don't only want to be a good lawyer, but I also, you know, want a good job after this. And I know that in order to get that, I gotta have good grades. So yeah. What would you have done differently? I really worked my butt off, y'all. I don't think I would have done anything differently. Only thing I can think of is like 2 weeks before our contracts exam, we got word that okay, at first our contracts exam was said to be closed book, which honestly, when she said that, I was kind of like, how? But anyways, it changed to being, it was originally a closed book essay type exam. And I was literally like, okay, when I found that out, I was like memorizing like crazy, you know, using my whiteboard like y'all saw to memorize all those cases. I had all the cases and everything memorized. And then she emailed saying that, oh, actually it's going to be an open book multiple choice test. So I guess that was kind of a regret, because I'm like, dang, I spent all that time memorizing these cases for what? Because it's about to be open book and I just wasted that time. But honestly, I wouldn't say it's a regret, because it just helped me in the long run. Like, I at least already had stuff memorized. And even though it was case-based, contracts for us is actually a year-long course. So next semester, I'll have it in my head, I guess, for that final. So we actually just took a midterm for contracts because it's year-long, y'all. Jesus, give me strength. But yeah, I don't think I have any regrets. I did everything everyone told me to do, so that's all I can say there. Okay, is rank something that concerns you? I mean, yeah, like, I'm not trying to be at the bottom, but like, I don't like go to sleep every day thinking about my rank. It's probably because I'm like, don't have one right now. I'm literally just finished the first semester, so I don't really think about it too much right now. But I mean, yeah, I'm not necessarily not concerned with it. I do have a conditional scholarship, so like, shoot, don't mess with my money. How much reading do you do per day? So like, I already shared this little thing that I follow, and yet I did print this out. I'm not really one to like look at my phone for the calendar, things like that, so I just had that on my board. I really was not reading during the week, because after class I was just so over it. So I really just went really hard and did like crazy hours on the weekend with reading. Some people break it up differently. Some people prefer to do a little bit each day versus like cramming it out on the weekends. So everyone is different. Everyone can't do like crazy hours like that, and everyone can't do little increments like that. So it just depends. But me personally, I did like long hours on the weekends with reading. I think I read for Civ Pro, like I would literally wake up at like 5-6 o'clock in the morning to start reading for civil procedure, finish reading that around like, I would take breaks too, but I would finish reading it around whatever time I would finish, and then I would go to brunch and like turn up and do all that, or like then I could go to like a dinner or like something with my friends. So that's kind of what I did. Oh, this kind of goes with the next question. How do you balance law school and social life? I mean, honestly, it's really like, you just gotta do what you gotta do. Like, I'm the type of person, ever since undergrad, people have been asking me how I have such a social life and still do school. It's really about like, I would say time management, but I think it's just discipline. Like, you just really have to have the discipline. Like, okay, right now I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z, or I'm gonna do, you know, whatever. Just, you know, all of your time matters. So yeah, and I just knew I was a morning person and I wasn't trying to do stuff at night, school stuff. So that's why I had free evenings where I could go to like a happy hour or just hang out with my friends, which is really, like I said, that's like my self-care. Like, if I didn't do that, I would just be lonely and miserable this whole time. So that really helped me. Getting up super early. I'm a morning person. Like, not everyone is like me. Like, not everyone can go out, get back at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, then be up at 7 a.m, read all day, and then, you know, like, not everyone can do that. And I'm not saying that you should do that, but that's just, you know, how I'm wired and how I've been for a while. But I think it really just comes down to, you know, discipline. And I think also planning stuff out. Like me, I can be pretty anxious. I can like get stressed out and worry. I was literally stressed all semester. But once I wrote everything out, like, I literally had so many planners, but I have one planner here. This is like my planner where I had everything like for the year. I still have things in there. Then I have another planner, another calendar there, which is like by the month. I have something else that's for 2 months, and then this is for the week, and then I have something for the day. It sounds very crazy, but that's just what I needed to have everything written down. So then I never had anything that was too unexpected, and I always knew the next thing I needed to be ready for. I set goals, and I just do it. I just do it. Now, it's not always perfect, it's not always smooth sailing, but I really just make sure I don't get behind, because actually, if I ever got behind, I probably would just pass out and be too stressed. Like, I couldn't get behind in this. Like, literally after orientation, that was literally the Beyond Scare Straight. You know Beyond Scare Straight, where they scare the bad kids? So they, with like all this stuff, like they take them to prison, like scare them so they like start acting right. Orientation for me was like law school version of Beyond Scare Straight. that thing scared me so badly. I was like, oh my gosh, I told all my friends, I'm like, I'm gonna have to leave the group chat, y'all. I don't have time for anything. I don't have time, da da da. And I mean, I guess low-key that was true, but like eventually I got like a more realistic version of that, but it still kind of whipped me into shape where I'm like, okay, like, you know, you gotta have a game plan, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. And that's kind of how I did. I'm going on such a tangent right now, but that's kind of how you have to balance it. Like, I don't know, you can't just, you know, you gotta work hard, and you gotta, if you want to play hard, you got to work hard. Me going out and having a social life isn't me choosing like a freaking happy hour over school. It's me, like, I just need something to look forward to. That's like me, like being like, okay, oh my gosh, can't wait to finish this reading because then I can go to a wine night with my friends. Or I can't wait to finish this freaking memo because then I can celebrate it. Like, that's just kind of how I do things. Like, I need little rewards. So for me, it wasn't necessarily like, I guess it was social life, law school life balance, but it was really just my life merged into one. And it's individual, like everyone is different. Yes, but you'll find out what works for you. I'm sure like everyone, you're going to law school, you've gone to college, so you've already had like a hint of like balancing your social life. If you know, we're like a party person in college, I was definitely very much a party person and I managed it. Work hard, play hard. And if you can't, then you just can't go out and it's fine. Like, there'll always be another thing. But it's tough. It's very much so easier said than done. It's very hard. And this is me saying it after the semester, but don't worry. Like, my friends, they're not in this video, but they'll tell you that like, I literally complain to them all day about how hard this is. But after you do it, you kind of realize like, okay, like it's possible. What was the exam format? So for us, we had, I'm like looking, I still have like my freaking exam stuff up. I need to take my calendar down. But so I took this semester, I took civil procedure, torts. Actually, let me say the order of my exams in. So first thing, I had a memo due, and then like a few weeks later, I had my first exam, which was contracts. I kind of had a list here. First exam, which was contracts, and that was multiple choice, open book. And then next one was torts, and that was just like, we just, you know, it's very professor specific, but it was kind of like, you know, open-ended, like one question and we just write a long answer. And then next I had leg reg, which was again like the same thing, like, you know, you get fact pattern and you answer the questions like essay based, and then the same thing for civil procedure, and you only get like a certain amount of time to write it. And I never thought I would say that, you know, 3.5 hours really isn't that long to write an exam. To me, that's pretty long, but honestly, I feel like we needed double that time. Like, I was literally typing for my life. Like, I've never had to type that fast. And it's crazy. It's actually crazy. And I can't believe, you know, I really just be wondering, how do people do this closed book? Because the way the time is set up, y'all, you really do not have time to like sit there and think, maybe it could be this. Like, no, it's like as soon as you see it, you just gotta type. And you better hope you're making sense, because then you might be lucky to have time to proofread it. So yeah, the exam format is actually cuckoo. How long did I study for each class? I don't really have like numbers like that, y'all. Like I said, I was really like a weekend person, but I think the class that I studied the longest for and I put the most hours in for was civil procedure. Like, literally I would study at least, I wouldn't say at least, but like I've studied like upwards of like 14 hours for that class, like some days, most days when I was studying for it. But I would just say, like, honestly, when I first heard my mentor say that she would study that long for the class, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, what? But once you like really get into it and you realize how much it is, like, you can definitely see how you can put in like those hours. But that's not until like closer to finals or whatever. So yeah. And then for torts, it was really just me like making flashcards. Why? I don't even do that. Why am I playing with my nails? For torts, it was really just me like making flashcards. Like, sometimes to save time while she was in class, like answering some random questions, I would be sitting here writing my flashcards. And basically by the end of the semester, you have like all your flashcards, and I just have them separated out, like, you know, strict liability, negligence, like all this stuff. And you have all these flashcards, and then, you know, throughout the week you can just review them, and that does not take a long time. Well, for me, everyone is different. And that's another thing I would say. Like, I don't think it's really like hours you put in, it's just like, do you know it or not? Because some things might not take you as long. Like, to me, torts doesn't take me as long to like know, versus like civil procedure, all them freaking rules. So I didn't really do it by hours necessarily. I did it mostly by topic, but when I did count the hours for Civ Pro, it was long as heck like that. This is not necessarily a question, this is just like a common thing I just wanted to address. Like, I do not dislike Howard You know, I think people, like, yes, I'll post a meme complaining about law school, but I'm not complaining about Howard. Like, I wouldn't be still at this school if I didn't like it, for one. And two, like, you know, I'm not about to glamorize law school at all. That's why I'm not always vlogging all the time, because most of the time I'm miserable here. But I'm just saying, I don't hate Howard. I love Howard. I wouldn't want to be going through this struggle anywhere else. So people are always asking me, you know, how is Howard? Like, do you recommend it and stuff like that? Like, yeah, hell yeah, I recommend it. I definitely like it. I think I'd be like way even more miserable at a school that I didn't feel like had such a community and such, you know, a presence, especially during these times of just civil unrest and stuff. This crazy man trying to get him out of the White House, like all this. I am so glad to be embraced at a school like this right now. Yeah, so I just wanted to clear that up because it was a lot of misunderstanding there. Like, I complain about law school, and also I still like law school, like low-key. I'm not about to glamorize it though. Complaining is just part of my process, okay? I still like it. I still find it interesting. I still have like I guess you could call it a love-hate relationship. I've never been challenged academically like this ever in my life. I think the closest I ever came to this was high school. UCLA, I wasn't really challenged as much as this, so I'm using, like, you know, different parts of my brain. Like in law school, it's not like when you learn something, it's not like you're learning it, you know, the test is not about to be, okay, what's rule 30? It's not going to ask you something like that, or it's not going to ask you something super straightforward all the time. It's going to be, you're reading a scenario, you have to know the rules so much, so well, that you can spot when it needs to come into play. And not only can you spot it, but you need to be able to say it and, like, you know, apply it, like all that stuff. So, you know, just thinking like that, it's like, wow, like, look at my brain working. Literally, I would get headaches from the reading and from listening to class. I've never gotten headaches from school stuff before. So it's just using a different part of your brain muscle. But yeah, like it's hard, you know, it's hard. I don't know why everyone keeps asking me, is law school hard? Yes, it's hard. It's not easy, but it's also possible. And literally in my hard times, people say, how to stay motivated, how to come out of, like, if you had a hard day. Probably not the healthiest for my mental health, but I like to find silver linings. I would literally tell myself, you know, shoot, people did this with no Google. People did this closed book, like with closed book exams. Like, and I didn't have to do that. So I just find silver linings and just push myself. I don't know if that's like healthy or whatever, but that's just what works for me. Yeah, you can still like have a life though. Like, I guess by have a life, like, I guess, okay, here's like, I guess something I wish I knew before. Not necessarily I wish I knew, but like I guess, okay, yeah. But it's nothing like too essential because I eventually learned it. But like, just because you're in law school doesn't mean you can't like have fun. Like, you can still like, I was watching Girlfriends, I was watching The Game, I was watching all the shows because I started my days so early so I could like get stuff done before class. So then after class, which class would end like, what, around like 3 o'clock, I basically had my whole afternoon for real. So that was great but it just literally balanced out because of how much hours I put in other, like, not during the week. But yeah, you can still, you know, do a little thing. And then also, like, it really does catch up to you. You know, I really wasn't doing work after like 8 p.m. even going to like, maybe, I think the latest I did work once. Well, one time I did, I think I can probably count my hands in nights where I like have to do stuff until like 1 o'clock in the morning, but I would not recommend that. I think I probably only did that like maybe 2 or 3 times, but other than that, I was really done with schoolwork at like 8 p.m. for real because I needed my hours of sleep. Like, I would not, you know, it's a marathon. I just thought of it all as a marathon. I kept seeing people say that, and really that's a good way to put it. Like, I just didn't want to burn out. Everyone talks about freaking burnout. Take a shot every time you hear burnout in law school because goodness, everyone loves to talk about it. But I didn't want that. So I just, you know, rationed out my energy so I wouldn't do that. So yeah. Plus I try to go to bed early anyways because I wake up at the crack of dawn. So yeah, that's not the thing this semester. But I'm really hoping it gets easier. I'm literally praying to God because I don't think I could do this much longer. I really don't. I literally have never worked this hard for anything in my life. I've never done anything this hard in my life. So yeah, it's okay though. I'm actually very relieved that like I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but like I'm still interested in the material and like I still want to be a lawyer because I literally don't really have much of a backup plan. Like, it's not like, oh, if I don't do this I could just do something else. Like, there's not really anything else I really want to do as a career right now. So I'm very glad that it's working out because I would literally have like a crisis if I got here and hated everything and was like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to be a lawyer. I would be like, well, what am I gonna do? So another person asked me, is it competitive? And do I feel like I can like compete with my classmates? I really don't even think about it like that. Maybe because like I haven't gotten like grades or anything. But I think it's also because like we're in like different circumstances, y'all. Like we're in a whole pandemic. Like I guess, yeah, law school is like inherently competitive. Like you're actually kind of set up to fail. But like, at least in my section, like when people ask for help, like people help each other out. Like way more than I thought, actually. Yeah, people help each other. I don't necessarily feel like it's competitive. Maybe it'll be more competitive like next semester when we have grades or something, but that's just me. That's just how I feel. And also it could be because I don't really talk to that many people who go to Howard on a regular basis anyways, so I'm not really like too in that mix. Like I don't want any more part of my life of law school than it has to be. Hopefully it's only up from here. I refuse to believe everyone who's saying that, oh, it doesn't get any better and things like that. Like shoot, it better get better. I don't think anything can get worse than this. I think the uncertainty alone is the lack of uncertainty alone is gonna already help me, just knowing what I'm getting myself into even more. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for encouraging words. Like please continue to encourage me, child, because I got 5 more semesters of this. But you know, we're on our way there. So yeah, I will see you all in my next video. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Yeah, that's my first semester of law school recap, y'all. I really can't believe I did it. I don't even want to think about next semester. It's literally, why did Howard give us this short break? Like, oh my gosh, I thought we were gonna have like at least a month off. But yeah, first semester is done. You know, now we gotta move on, apply to jobs, because you know, I literally forget I'm literally doing all this for a job. So got to apply to jobs and, you know, go from there.
Uh-oh, the game in trouble. Started out small, now they paying me double. Yeah, you can drip chip, baby, like mustard. Yeah.